We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, but it is demanded by the oppressed. Martin Luther King. King requires no introduction in the way that he's revolutionized the world through his famous speech, "I have a dream," and created a world with less division that we can all live in peace and harmony with, which is exactly why, of course, I had to present and break down the incredible Martin Luther King in this week's episode of MasterTalk. Hi everyone, Brendan here from MasterTalk, on your go-to channel to mastering your talk. And today we're talking about the great Dr. King. So let's get into it. Number one, paint a vision of the future that your audience is excited to believe in. And as he uttered in one of his speeches, Martin Luther King looked at an audience of tens of thousands of people and said, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a world where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but rather the content of their character." And when he shared those words, he helped his audience imagine a world through his eyes, through the way that he wished the world was. And when he did that, he caused an uproar, an excitement, a joy to actually say, let's make that world come to life. And that's what great visionaries do. They help us imagine a future that most of us don't see, and they help lead us into that greater future. And whether we want to be a visionary or not, like MLK, it's important for us to know how to do that. Because it's not just about giving a big presentation. It's about convincing somebody on a date to buy them into the vision of dating us. It's about going into a job interview and convincing people, painting a vision for them to say, hey, if you hired me, your life would be 10 times better. So what does that mean in the context of your life? In the same way MLK definitely did in his, take some time and reflect on how would the world change if everyone implemented and followed your vision. So if you're a big thought leader listening to that and that's your dream, use that question from that lens and write down all those notes. How would the world change? How would people feel? How would they be different? And if you're someone who wants to get your next job promotion, think about it from that frame too. But either way, the exercise is useful and really helps people enroll into your vision and what you're trying to create in the world, like MLK has done so famously well. Number 2, others must share your ideas with the world for them to be truly heard. What I love about MLK is that he has incredible charisma. His speech was amazing, but we're forgetting the most important factor, which is, as the internet tells us anyways, 250,000 people were at that speech. But how is that possible? There was no internet at the time. There was no flyers. There was flyers, but it was really hard to spread the word. Let's leave it at that. Which means that the only way for there to be so much people is for raving fans to be within the realm of your ideas. Meaning, word of mouth. You need other people to talk about you. Even before he started giving his speech, he was introduced so professionally by somebody else and said, we are so honored to have Dr. Martin Luther King here to join us today. And people cheered him on. And that also gave him credibility to speak on that stage and say, hey, I have something important to share. So what does that tell us? It tells us that we can't achieve or spread our ideas alone. I mean, it's possible, but we won't be able to max out that impact. Meaning, it's important for us to figure out who are our raving fans? Who are the people that are so bought into our mission and how we want to lead in the world that they choose, that they volunteer to follow us and spread our message with the world? And the best way to do that is through care and attention. Ask your audience questions, get to know them, build a relationship, a friendship with them, add value so that they make the decision to share their ideas, your ideas, for you, for the world to hear. Number 3, the power of one simple idea can drive powerful change in the world. MLK was really smart about the way that he formatted his speech, I have a dream, because he repeated that same sentence at least 10 times throughout the entire presentation. And what's interesting is if you ask anyone who attended that session, out of the 250,000 people who were there, what was your biggest takeaways from his speech? They probably won't have a good answer for you. They'll look at you and go, yeah, MLK is great charisma, or yeah, he's a really good speaker, or yeah, I have a dream too and I want to help him with it. So you'll notice that the answers are really vague, meaning that the best speakers on the planet, even at their peak, it's really hard for people to retain most of the information. That's why when you focus on a singular idea, you just keep pounding your chest on that singular idea until your audience remembers that. So what happened with this speech? When he concluded, his dream became everyone else's too. So at the end of the presentation, people probably didn't remember the whole speech, but they looked at each other and said, what MLK is dreaming about is my dream too. I also want to live in a world where we're judged by the content of our character, not necessarily our skin color. So I want to create that world. And they took ownership of that dream and made it their own. So what does that mean? That means that with your ideas, with what you want to share with the world, how can you help empower other people through your own ideas? So for example, with me and MasterTalk, it's how do I create free tools for people with communication so that everyone else can go share their ideas with the world. But that empowers people to take action. And when you find that peace, that empowering aspect of your dream, then it'll come true as well. By telling his audience about his grandiose dream, MLK not only influenced a generation, but humanity as a whole to take ownership of their own dreams, their own aspirations, their own goals, so that we can create a better world for the future, for the people after us. So now the question is, what dream do you have? And how can you share that dream with the world? I encourage you to every step of the way. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of Master Talk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. I also run bi-monthly workshops on communication and public speaking. That's over Zoom. It's online. It's free. And if you want to register, you'll find the link down below in the show notes or in the comment section. If you know one person that's a fan of MLK, that's a fan of what Martin Luther King has done, be sure to send them this video so that they too can master their talk and, more importantly, achieve their dreams as well. Take care.